Sir, first I start. Sir, welcome you, sir. Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome to present here. A special thanks to the chief guest of the event, Mr. G. Lakshmi Narasimhan. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
He completed engineering in 2005 with a distinction. He got
Yeah, please proceed, ma'am.
wait, sir. Someone wants to join. Good evening, everyone. A warm welcome to the present here. A special thanks to the chief guest of the event, Mr. G. Lakshmi Narasimhan, sir. Sir, welcome you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sir?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And sir has completed in engineering 2005 with a distinction. He had experienced in working multiple telecom companies like ZTE, Tech Mahindra, Nokia Siemens, Soften Technologies. Currently, he is working in Nokia company as automation lead for one of the networking product. He is having overall 17 years of experience. And sir already worked in London for the period of 2 years. He experienced with the telecom technologies, 2G, 3G, fixed networks. And he worked with major telecom operators like Vodafone Idea companies. And sir is having more experience in manual automation testing and complex applications testing and deployment field. Now I hand over the session to Mr. Narasimhan, sir. I extremely welcome you, sir, you to share your valuable thoughts, guidance, and knowledge to our students. Now the session hand over to the our chief guest, Mr. Narasimhan, sir. Sir, you please continue, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, good evening, everyone. I hope I am audible. Okay. Can someone raise hand if I am audible? Yeah, thank you. Um, yeah, it was really nice to meet people from engineering college and the students to interact with the students. So I feel thankful and for this opportunity. And basically, actually, Somsundari ma'am approached me that to give some session on what's going on in companies and how we are using the developing the products, how we are testing the products, or how we are using the um, emerging technologies in software industry and in telecom industry. So I feel that it is really a, very important, informative, informative to the students. So I choose this topic actually. So I choose the topic of the next generation technologies and growing of the DevOps. So about my background, as Somasundari ma'am explained, so I worked with telecom technologies, deployment, support, testing, and currently I'm working with as an automation lead in Nokia. So that's about me. Let me go through the session. In case of any queries in between, I request people to raise their hands and you can ask your doubts. I'll try to clarify. Okay, I started sharing my screen. Hope it's visible. Okay, and before starting my session, I just want to hear the expectation from someone like what do you expect in these topics? Like once you seeing these topics, what is your expectation? Can I hear some um, response? Like what we will going through? These areas we may cover. These areas we may get some lights. So is there any expectations from someone? Hello, am I audible? I am expecting some response. Yes, Satish Kannan has raised their hand. So you want to share some questions, Satish? Okay. For the sake of time, I will go through. In case of any questions, you can stop me in between. So basically, I just want to uh, go through and explore some of the topics which may not be getting covered in the academics. Actually, I'm also an engineering student from Anna University. So, and when we are coming from the college to the when we are working in a MNC, so we may feel that there are some new technologies, new topics getting involved, and some new environments we may not be having the hands on. So my intention is let people explore. I actually I can say I covered a lot of new topics or new. I will just try to go through one by one. So my intention is people may try to explore. So that is only my intention. Okay. So first of all, SDLC models. SDLC is nothing but the software development life cycle model. So what this mean by a software development life cycle? Assume you are having a lot of nowadays people are really habituated with using Android mobiles or laptops, and they are having a lot of applications getting installed day by day. And we are using a lot of applications like social media. We can assume WhatsApp, a basic app which we are using in our mobile. So if you can assume WhatsApp and you can also assume IRCTC. So there is some people who are developing this software, there is some people who are testing this software, and somebody is certifying this software. So there is a team is working on that, and if we have some issues in WhatsApp or you are having some issues in your IRCTC website, so there is some people who will be fixing some issues. So they have some life cycle. So from where to start, from where to end, further they have some models. That is what generally in basic we are calling as a software development life cycle model. So in that software development life cycle, there are different models are there in overall industry. So basic models which I have listed. The first one is the waterfall model and iterative model, spiral model, and then beam model and Big Bang model. So these are the different types of models. Basically, this is a kind of procedure we can say. Okay. So in case of waterfall model, we can assume that a waterfall model is generally it will be having a flow chart. So you're having a planning stage, So in the planning stage, what they will do is they will collect all the requirements from the market. Assume if I am going to develop a new application equivalent to WhatsApp, assume I'm having a new startup. So what I need to do, I need to collect the requirements from the several team that people want to share their data, they want to share their images, they want to share their voice recording, they want to share files, they want to create a group, they want to have a group chat, they want to have a voice call, they want to have the video calls, and they want to install the WhatsApp at a time in two mobiles or in two laptops. So these are some requirements we expect from the WhatsApp. Similarly, I can take IRCTC. So my expectation in IRCTC would be if I give a from and to destination, first I need to create a login. If I create from and to, it has to list all the available trains, it has to list all the available seats, the fare, and what the quota. And if I try to book to get my details, then I have to do the payment. The payment, if it is success or failure, I have different types of banking. So all the banking websites, I should have a payment gateway. So these are the different types of requirements for application. So like this, all these applications requirements first it will be collected in the planning stage and then defining. So in defining, what we can say is what we are going to achieve, what we are going to achieve in the particular time period. So we can, it is not like Rome was not built in a day. So in the same way, if you are using an application, it is not like everything can be built in a same day. So they will be having stages, they will be having multiple releases, and in every release they will be having their goals. In that goals, they will be having like, okay, this in this release, first 6 months, we will achieve these implementations. So these implementation has to work successfully. So that defining stage and then designing. So in designing, the people will develop the code, they will write the code in the system and they will test that and they will build and they will do the unit testing development team, then they will do the building. Building is just nothing. When they are building the application and somebody in the testing team is like quality analysis. You can assume as the quality team, they will do the testing. And finally, it is going to the deployment. So this cycle, if you see, it is taking nearly from 6 months to 1 year for releasing one update. You can assume in WhatsApp, people will be they expecting the updates. Nowadays, people are expecting the updates as and when they need. So where, for example, you assume WhatsApp and Telegram is there. If there is an update in WhatsApp, some equivalent to update a new feature has to be delivered in Telegram. So Telegram. So basically, we cannot wait for 1 month or 6 months, 1 year or 6 months time period. So there needs to be this model has to be changed. So when we see the waterfall model, it is only fit to where simple scope and requirement gathering, clear and linear sequence of tasks. That means once the goal is defined for 6 months, there is no change. There is no additional goals are getting added. So it will be defined and predictable deliverables based on the set deadlines. So that means if I have a deadline of 6 months, in that deadline, I will be having only this much predictor, some 10 points I will deliver. So other than that, if I need to add an 11th point or if I need to modify the deliverables, so that is not possible in the waterfall model. So that is basically the issue with the waterfall model. So here comes the requirements of the DevOps. So what is meant by DevOps? I just put one quote. Expect the best, plan for the worst, and prepare to be surprised. So expect the best. So what is best in the market? What is best we are expecting? That has to be delivered. Plan for the worst. So if there is a worst situation is going to happen, for that people has to plan. So all these words are applicable to the people who are developing the product, who are testing the product, who are certifying the product. Okay. So basically for the software development and prepare to be surprised. Okay. So in case of when we speak about DevOps, first we should know what is meant by an agile and Scrum. So these are some of the methodologies how software industry is moving towards. Nowadays it is already moved. It is not new to the software industry for nearly 10 years actually. More than 10 years, I can say people are involved in agile methodology. So agile methodology is basically we will be having some Scrum calls A Scrum is basically a 24 weeks, 28 days. Yes, 28 days, and it will be totally 4 weeks. So in that 4 week, what we will be having is in basically in DevOps, the requirement is at any point of time when you are developing an application, it should be completely deliverable, testable. It should be completely able to install and we should be able to use. That means when you are developing a new feature in your WhatsApp and I am getting the code, I'm trying to test the code. It should be able to install, it should be able to test. We cannot say that, oh, the application is half boiled. We cannot test that now. So that is the kind of the one, maybe I'm just saying from the layman's point of view. So when we are trailing as a scrum, there will be having a defined set of goals. In this scrum, we are going to achieve this much user stories or this much points or deliverables. Assume if in case of WhatsApp, we are going to achieve voice call, we are going to achieve group meeting, so something like that. So in that, within that time, the team will deliver that deliver the futures, develop the futures, and the test team will test that application that features are working fine. They will find the issues. Quality team will test the issues and they will raise the bugs. And finally, if there is some lag, if there is some spillover, the spillover will go to the next scrum. So like this, it will continue. So when you see comparing to the waterfall model and the agile model, the waterfall model is taking a 6 months time. In case of 6 months time, you can see the 3 months to 4 months will go for the completely for the development and then the testing will start. So in case of agile, it will happen parallelly. The development team will develop the product and they will give it to the, they will put it in a place. The test team will take the build and they will start to test the application. So in case of agile model, there are a lot of different types of agile models are there, and we will go through mainly about the DevOps. So I expect people like, are they getting familiar? Are they are going with me? Or do they have any doubts? Am I clear with what I am saying? Do you have any questions, any doubts? Like this is what I'm going to cover. Can I proceed further? Okay, thank you, Abhishek Joy. I hope people are getting aligned with me. Yes, as explained, yes, it's a methodology designed to build products in an environment susceptible to change. So basically, this is how the industry or the software industry is now working nowadays. The environment is susceptible to change. That means when we speak about the environment, the new futures or the new development, when it is happening, it is susceptible to change. You will be targeting something, you will have a goal in this release, we will release these are all the features. But it is susceptible to change. There may be what we can feel that some of the features, okay, this might be a minor feature, it may not be required for the customer or the end user. We can deliver this later. Some other priority features, okay, we can put it as a priority, we can add that first. So that priority we can change, and delivery cycles are known as sprints that generally last 1 to 4 weeks. So Scrum teams usually small, ranging between 3 to 9 members. Basically, a Scrum team will be having a Scrum master. The Scrum master role, he has to lead that Scrum and he has to host that Scrum meeting daily, a daily stand-up kind of, and the team will discuss and they will go through the multiple issues, what they are facing, where they are blocked, why it is not progressed, why, what is the dependency, everything they will discuss and they will move the issues to the closer state. So this is a kind of tracking the issues in that sprint. So communication among team members and stakeholders constantly occurs because every day they will be having the stand up, they will be discussing the issues. So every day there will be meeting. So what is happening in the system, what is happening in the background, everything will be updated in that Scrum meeting. So people are communicated a lot in case of Agile compared to the waterfall model. In waterfall, if you see the test and development, they feel that they are like working in a different team, and the communication will be there also communication, but comparing to Agile, it is less. So Scrum is the most used methodology by around 66% of the Agile users. Yeah, these are all some Agile goals or manifesto, individuals and interactions over processes and tools. So if you see, when you're working in a company, the interactions with the people are really very important. When we are attending the meetings and when you have the lot of frequent meetings getting involved, and you when you see that the people are communicating what is happening every day, what is blocked, why they are it is delivered, so why it is blocked, and what is the dependency, to whom the dependency is. So like this, all the interactions will go through one by one, and people will share the idea. So that interaction is really very much required in case of Agile. And working software over comprehensive documentation. So this is one more important point. If you say a comprehensive documentation is, for example, when you assume you are using an application, we will give you a user guide. Okay, you go and install, you have a user guide, you can follow. But instead of that, we will be giving a working software. So that will be very useful for the end user. And responding to change over following a plan. So whenever there is a new priority, new requirements, or some requirements are getting changed, that will be getting responded in case of Agile. Yes, next come to the important topic of DevOps. It is a short form of development plus operations. So development plus operations, it means that some people will deliver one software application, so they will be called as the development team. Some people will test the application, they will be called as the test team, and some other one will be operations team. So they will be, their job is to support, basically testing and support, we can say, as the operations team. So they will be deploying the applications in the customer environment, and they will test that, and they will see some issues, and then they will come to inform back to the development team that some features are not. Assume you are using WhatsApp application, or you can take Google Meet. Right now we are using a Google Meet. In case of Google Meet, assume I am having a Lenovo laptop or a Dell laptop. Somebody else is using their mobile. So the Google Meet, it has to work in all the platforms, in all the mobiles, irrespective of your Android mobile's Android version, irrespective of your browser. I am using now, maybe I can say Chrome browser. Someone else will use Firefox browser. Someone else will use Edge browser. Somebody will use Google Meet application itself in their mobile. So it is working in multiple platforms. It is working in multiple environments. So in all the environments, in different environments, the application has to work seamlessly. So that is basically what the deployment team will do. They will test the product, they will certify, and that testing and deployment, they will certify, okay, this application is working fine. So when you see DevOps, it is not like development and operations are into different teams. We can say the development team will also do some testing, plus operations team will communicate frequently to the development team. So that is the kind of DevOps. In case of DevOps, basically there is no separate testing concept. The developer has to do the testing. So that is what DevOps is basically trying to achieve. So when you see a continuous development and delivery, that is one goal. Continuous integration. So what is meant by integration? And I can say, like, when you are in a software company, when you are working in a complex product. So in a complex product means assume you are having your Redbus application, and in the Redbus application or IRCTC itself, you can take or else you can take a banking website. Assume you have SBI website. When you log into SBI website, there is only one website. But when you go inside that, you are having lot of applications inside that. You will be having SBI insurance, SBI home loan, and SBI debit card, SBI credit card, and SBI savings account, current account, and a personal account, corporate account, and so easy in one website they are posting lot of other applications. So if you see SBI insurance, there will be a separate team working, and there will be a separate team working for the SBI what to say home loan. So whenever we see a complex product like this, that integration is really a matters. And integration basically means that when there are multiple products getting delivered, multiple components or modules are getting delivered, and they all are delivered continuously, and the integration team will take care of that. And testing means basically the quality team, we will test that application, and continuous monitoring and feedback. Basically, these are all from the ops team. We will get the feedback and deployment, continuous deployment and continuous operation. So deployment means you are deploying the application in the customer's environment. So these all will happen in a cyclic manner, and in a loop kind of, we can assume. So in case of DevOps, this is going to be a continuous development, and integration, testing, monitoring, everything will happen one by one, and it will continue. Okay. So if you see this image, sorry, yeah, I will go through one by one. So the difference between the first image and here: plan, code, build, test, then release. Okay, release the product, then deploy, and then operation and monitor. So after monitor, again it will come to plan, code, build, test, release, deploy. So this is a kind of closed chain. It will continue. Yeah. So these are all the some different stages in DevOps: plan and coding. This will come to the continuous development. Build and test will come for continuous testing. For continuous deployment, it will be deploy and operate. And monitoring will be the continuous monitoring. So the integration will take care of all these integration steps. Okay. So before going to the next slide, I want to know some people like maybe people from computer science background or IT background, or I hope AI or data science. You have people. Can you tell me what are the different programming languages people are now working with? Hello? Can someone see? Okay. Java. Okay. C, C++, Java, etc. Super. Okay. Anything else? Anything more to add? Python. Super. Anything more? C, C++, Python, Java. Okay. Anything other than this list? Okay. Maybe I will ask the question in another way. Object oriented. Very good. Excellent. Object oriented. So object oriented is the approach, and we can use both Java and Python for object oriented. Yes, you can give me a response. What are it striking in your mind? There is no decision that It would be really helpful that your answers will be helpful to others. Okay, I hope that's it. So assume IRCTC application we are using. Okay, in IRCTC, as soon as I launch, what is happening? There is a page is getting opened, and in that page, what we see, IRCTC logo is there, and login page is there, and some other ads will scroll through everywhere. And when you for login, you are creating your username and password. You are logging into that, and your username is getting verified somewhere, right? You are creating your username and password. It is getting verified somewhere. So what is happening? Your name is getting authenticated, and you are entering into the website with your credentials. So once you log in, we are trying to book the tickets. So all these tickets and all your transactions, it has to be listed in your history. If you go to your booking history, it has to be listed. So can we achieve all these things using only Java? Is it supported only with Java? I have only Java and I can develop a IRCTC website, or I have only Python. With that I can develop a complex application. Am I clear? I hope. Is that my question clear? So I expect the session to be more interactive because this should be some eye opener, or this should be some good interactive session. Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you. So the thing is, we cannot, when you are say you are developing an application, when you are delivering an application, there are multiple components getting involved. So multiple languages getting involved, multiple teams are working. So different teams are working on different models. So when we say a web server, so basically when you see the IRCTC website, basically there is some people working on the front end. So the front end, they may be using some JavaScript or JSS. And when you see that you are typing something, your booking history is getting stored, and for that you may need some DB server, a database server. So your database server can be anything, can be an SQL server, non-SQL server, or you can use any open source databases like MariaDB. We have a lot of other open source DB in the market. So what is getting, like, basically we have one front end team and we may have a back end team. These two are very important, and these people will be working on their own models. Now, okay, so when we see, first let us come from the coding stage. The coding stage, we can say that in the coding stage, basically this slide, what we are covering is what are all the different applications or different tools that are being used by most of the people in DevOps model. So basically this is my what is the ultimate intention to cover to the team. I expect the people and the students to go through the topics. Just Google this. Just Google that. Okay, what is Git? What is Puppet? What is Chef? What is Ansible? What is Eclipse? What is a Maven? What is the purpose of the Maven? So you can go through this. This will be really very useful for you guys to get more into like what is happening and how they are using and developing an application. So these are all the different tools getting used, and let me go through one by one. In the coding stage, we'll be using a Git repository. So Git, basically a repository is nothing but a folder, or you have a centralized repository where you have all the codes are getting pushed all your software codes or your application related codes are there, and we can pull that codes and we can testing can use your latest build, or the customer can use the latest build, and they can deploy that they can get the build images and they can deploy the application using the Git repository. Similarly, Eclipse. So Eclipse is nothing but an IDE. It's an integrated development environment. So it is having a lot of plugins. For example, you going to use Java or Python, and in that you need to have some other additional plugins. You can simply search for the plugins, install in Eclipse, and you can get used to that. So you can try when you are trying to write some complex applications in Java, you can try to use Eclipse, and for Python, you can try to use PyCharm. So like that, these are all some IDEs. So for coding, these are all the different tools getting used, and for build, they may majorly use this the Maven. So Maven, we can say that Maven will take care of all the building that application and making it as that application, and it will be useful to the test team. So basically, with the help of Maven, you can track that changes and you can build the application in an environment, and it will be useful to track all the development changes, developers changes, and integrate that and to build that into a complete application using Map, and then test. So the test itself is a complete. Basically, I'm into testing. I'm a testing professional, like, and we do have a lot of other applications other than this. JUnit is there, Selenium is there, and is the JUnit basically in testing? There are a lot of applications we are using. One is the JUnit, that is for the unit testing. Unit testing is only done by the developer, but if you see that in automated test, we will be using a lot of other applications like Robo Framework, Selenium, APM. So these are the different automation frameworks we are using. So you can just try to go through some Selenium. You people can try to install Selenium in your laptop in Eclipse, and you can try to test the IRCTC website. You can just try to some in Selenium. There are some what to say web drivers. You can try to install the web driver, and you can just try to launch your web application. You can see your user login is working fine. You can write a test case in the Selenium, and you can test that application. So for testing also we do have different tools. And then for releasing it's like we are releasing that product to the customer. So for that we will be having the Jenkins. So Jenkins is one of the major products. Similarly, we have some Bitbucket, and Google Cloud itself, they have some pipeline products. So these are the some different tools used for the release. And then for deploy is basically we can use either Puppet or Chef. I think we can also use Jenkins or Ansible. So basically these tools will really be helpful. So deploy is nothing but installing the product in an environment. So for that, these tools will be really helpful. So you can go through Puppet. So basically you can try. What you can do is when you have two machines, you are having an exe file. Assume you have an installation exe file, and maybe an installable application in a server centralized location. From there, you have a client, or you have some 10 clients connected. So what you can do is with the Puppet, you can write some codes. Just try to pull the code from the centralized server. You can make that server as a repository. From there you can try to pull, and in that code itself you can write some lines to deploy that application, and then it will be up and running. So that kind of scenarios you can try with Puppet. These are some basic scenarios you can try with. There is no need of a special environment for this and all. And Ansible mostly it uses Python, and in case of Ansible, it is really helpful for developing and for making a test environment, that is to create a Linux VM to deploy your applications, and getting a working VM with your application. So these are all some tools used for the deployment. And then for operate and monitoring, the different tools are there. So Like these, all these tools, I request the people, the students to explore, to know about what is happening inside these tools, why it is being used, why there are different tools like Git, whether we can use only in code, Ansible, why we can use in deploy. So what are all the different tools? So you can try to explore. It will be really helpful. It will be really interesting. Yes. The next one is I just gave some inputs about every tool. Like version control, we are using GitLab, GitHub, or Bitbucket. So basically, version control, you can say like WhatsApp. If you go to your WhatsApp, you can see what is the version. Basically, if you go to your Edge itself, you can see what is your version. If you go to your Edge browser, just go click help and feedback. Just go to about. Actually, it has to list your. See, this is the version. My current version is 109.0 something. So version control, like when the application, when we are hosting the application, and there are a lot of version controls when we are developing the application, like there will be lot different releases, so all this version control has to be done via the Git. And for the build tool, there are some Maven. So Maven is having some repositories documentation. So basically Maven, if you say like for example I am developing WhatsApp, or I am delivering an application similar to WhatsApp. So what are all the libraries I need? What are all the third-party libraries I need? And what are all the pre-requirements for that application to be delivered? So all that it can pull from the repositories and the documentation, like what is going to happen when you deploy this, what is going to happen as product one model is getting built. So all this documentation will get done. And for continuous integration, we will go through Jenkins in detail in future. Okay, in the next slides. Yeah, and another interesting topic I want to people to go through one is the container platforms. That is about Docker and Kubernetes. So these are all some cultural changes which we are going through nowadays, and it will be really helpful. You can go through these topics as well. Yes. So the next, I want to speak about the Jenkins. So am I clear? Can I go ahead, or you want me to stop? Yeah, please. Thank you. Okay. So when you say, yeah, so you see Jenkins, we do have a lot of stages. Actually, Jenkins is basically it shares a common environment. Okay, and it has collection of related steps. Okay, so when you see a Jenkins, it will be used by both developers and testers, and both of them will be using this Jenkins to Jenkins in turn. It will be using the Maven, and it will be building that application, and we will be having Jenkins. We can write some scripts basically to configure that what job it has to do. It has to whether it has to develop, and it build, and it has to deploy the product, it has to test the product. In case of testing, what are all the test cases it has to execute. So all this configuration we can do as part of Jenkins, and so it will build and it will deploy the product, it will test, then it will promote. So it will happen in a stage. So this inside the, if you see the Jenkins configuration, we can use most of the Groovy scripts. The Groovy is another programming language. You can go through Groovy scripts, and it will be having the configuration for the Jenkins. See, basically, if you see, this is a typical Jenkins stage. So in the pipeline, first stage is to build. So in the build, there will be inside multiple steps, and the build steps will be there, and then finally it has to print like building is successful. Then test. In case of test, the steps will be to test that application. So there will be a lot of test cases, different test cases, and finally the test cases, if it is passed or failed, then it has to say if the testing is successful, it will be testing. It will ask to print testing. Then deploying the application. So deploying is like it has to deploy that application in the customer environment. So you can assume that you can assume a lab environment where you have the customer environment kind of, and you can install that, deploy the application, and you can test that basically. So most of the most of the development and testing environment nowadays we are using Jenkins. So you can have a unique server. You can try to deploy a Jenkins application pipeline, and you can try to create some pipeline. You can try to test it. Maybe you can have some code, and you can try to different get some different stages. So if you have an application developed and you want to do version control, you want to do different generate different builds, you want to test that, deploy in your lab environment. Assume you have an exe file and you are doing continuous changes and you want to test that. So test means you can test your application like okay, I have a web server, I launched the web server, that page is working fine, and the username and password authentication is working fine, and I made a payment, the payment is working fine. Okay, I don't have the valid data, the payment is getting failed. All these scenarios you can test in your testing, and then finally you can deploy the application in another host or computer. So all these stages you can create in a Jenkins pipeline and you can test that. So the next interesting topic which I want to go through is the next gen, about next gen. So far I had covered about the DevOps tools, what are all the different DevOps tools we are using, and I hope it will be an eye opener for the people to uh, people will try to explore these tools after this session. So the next is the I want to speak something about the cloud platform and about the next gen technology. So before going to the cloud platform and the next gen technologies, what is the understanding of the cloud platform? Can someone explain me what is mean by a cloud platform? What is the understanding? Can someone unmute and speak about what is the understanding of the cloud platform? Is that am I going too fast, or is the topic is not clear? Please let me know. Used to data storage mostly. Super. Virtual platform. Mm, yeah, virtual platform. Correct. Used to for data storage mostly. Correct. Any other? Till I expect some more response. Maybe people can think of the time. Cloud actually it is not only for the data storage. So far what we speak about we need an infrastructure. We need some applications we need some applications storage and manage objects across four storage classes. Okay, storage. Other than storage, what do you expect in a cloud platform? Storage is fine. Something like Slack, modernize your apps and services. Okay, how modernize your apps and services? Modernize. Okay, okay, almost close to that. Modernize your apps. Maybe we need to make it clear, more clear. fine. Yes, I feel that I can. Is it reliable and high performance cloud service? Reliability and high performance you can achieve not mm, with your own setup. For that, maybe we can say yes, reliable, yes, reliability, we can say high performance, yes, but this can be achieved with your own infrastructure. Okay, so basically it's about the data storage. So whatever most of the people had responded with the storage. So the cloud is distributed among several locations like Google, or if you take Microsoft, and you can take Amazon. They are having their data centers located in different places, and all these data centers are connected together, and it will be we are accessing as the cloud platform. But what are the offerings as part of the cloud platform? So for that, there are different types of offerings. As we said, one is that software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. So there are different types of services that a cloud platform can offer. For example, you have a CRM application on some ERP application, some group chat, email. So all these applications, it can be hosted in the cloud platform, and we can just access that platform. So in this case, what it is happening, they have the software installed, the software is already running in some cloud host. We are just accessing that, we are using that software. So instead of installing the WhatsApp, or instead of installing some applications locally in your desktop, it is already installed in a remote place, and we are using that software application for our purpose. So that's way we can say that as a software as a service. And the platform as a service, we can assume application runtime, database, web server, developer services, data lake. So you can say that database. Assume I need to have some SQL for my application, and I need some MariaDB, and with some specifications, and I don't have enough resources. I don't have what to say resources to share. So I can make use of creating an SQL server, or I can make use of one server in cloud platform, and I can create that. That platform will be offered predefined and is readily available. I can try to use that. So in that way, it is called as a platform as a service. And then infrastructure. So infrastructures, this is really a bigger requirement when it comes to cloud infrastructure, because nowadays infrastructure is really a heavy cost for all the companies. So when you see a software company, when there are 500 people are working, everybody will working on servers, and that servers hardware, getting the hardware and installing that OS, getting that license, and maintaining that releases, maintaining the updates, getting that patches for that servers, and if there is a issue, getting fixed the issue. So that what to say, that maintenance of that server is really a huge cost. And when you say that software application, when there are some application which needs more frequent changes, and you need the development environment or the test environment also susceptible to all these changes, so you cannot deploy on a hardware in the when you purchase a hardware, you server, and it may become obsolete. So in that cases, we need more changes, more changes in the environment. So when you say owning your own infrastructure, it is better comparing to go to the cloud platform. They will be having the all the environments readily available. You can just create your, you can pay for that, you can create that environment and you can try to use that. If you don't need, you can just try to go switch off. It is the, so that is a major advantages of the cloud platform, we can say. So if you see virtual machines, bare metal servers, storage, load balancers, and networking, so all these can be achieved via the cloud infrastructure. Yes. So infrastructure as a service refers to online services that provide high-level APIs used to abstract various low-level details of underlying network infrastructure like physical computing resources, location, data partitioning, scaling, everything can be achieved via infrastructure as a service. And then platform as a service, everything I already explained. You can have your database, environment, web server, everything readily available. And software as a service, you will be having your softwares like access, you can gain access to that software and databases. So, like different services offered by the cloud platforms, we can make use of that. Why and what are all the different cloud currently available? And I expect the people to explore the different cloud URLs, create an account. Just go to, you can go to Google Cloud. You can create a free account. You can try to create a virtual machine, and you can try to deploy some applications so that you will be getting, instead of you are having your laptop, you can try to, you will be getting another VM, Linux VM, and you can try to use it. Not only Linux, Windows VM, everything. So whatever you need, that will be based on your privileges. You can try to create some objects. You can try to use the objects. So I just share some links over here, and you can try to create that free accounts and try to explore the different cloud URLs. And there are some certifications also you can do. For example, in Google Cloud, you can do some, try to do some certifications that will be really helpful for your future career. You can, I just shared one link in Google Cloud. You can try to see the different certifications available here. I just, yes. See, cloud architect, cloud database engineer, cloud developer, data engineer, cloud DevOps engineer. So there are different certificates. And what you can do is cloud engineer, you can just try to go through the certifications, just try to go through the training materials. So when you are coming up out with an degree, with an engineering degree, like, so these kind of certifications will try to address the gap, and it will try to have the environment, or it will try to have the knowledge for the people, like helpful for you to get the knowledge. And once you land in a company, once you land in a company, it will be really more value added, and you can easily start to catch up with that environment. You can easily start to go ahead with their tasks. So all these tools and all these certifications would be really helpful. And other important topic what I thought to cover is in cloud platform. One more topics is the Docker and Kubernetes. So how many of you have used I think mostly might have used Linux, a Linux VM, or you deployed a Linux VM, and how many of you try to use the Linux VMs? Can you tell me? Linux OS in your laptop? Did anybody tried to install Linux OS? Super. So you, which version you have tried? Okay, great. So which flavor you have tried? Like Ubuntu or Red Hat or Ubuntu. Nice. So what are all the challenges you are faced when you are installing your Ubuntu in laptop? Maybe you can say like when you try to install the Ubuntu in your laptop, there are some different questions you need to do. The partition, the network interface card you have to specify. You have to specify the RAM space, and there will be multiple libraries you have to pull. And on top of Ubuntu, if you try to install your Java, for that you should have some apt get update done, and then you have to pull the code, and then you should try to pull the latest Java. So just assume you are having a Ubuntu OS, and top of that you are trying to uh, pull a package. So these steps are really a complex one, and it needs a lot of man I mean to say effort basically. So what is a Docker can achieve basically? Assume I want to have a Ubuntu OS installed, and on top of that I want to deploy an application, and I want to test the application. So for all these things, I have to make the setup ready, installing the OS and installing the libraries, then installing my application. On top of that, all these things. So this is a time-consuming, tedious process. So everything is done in a just a click using Docker. That is a simple way I can say. Maybe you can please try to explore more about the Docker. Really, you will be getting a lot of interesting things about Docker. So I just give a sample comparison about the Docker and your Linux VM. So basically, we used to call the virtualizer. So I hope people are aware of the virtualizer or the virtualization. So have you ever have you gone through the virtualization concepts? Has anybody tried any virtualizers? If not, please try to explore. Okay, it will be really useful. Like you can have a hypervisor in your laptop, and you can try to develop multiple. You can try to build basically spin multiple VMs, and you can try to create some instances of the VM in your laptop itself using a hypervisor. So basically, if you see a yeah, in a hardware is nothing but your laptop, and top of that you are having a host operating system. The operating system, it will be a Windows or it will be a Linux. Top of that we have to install a hypervisor application, and using that hypervisor application you can create multiple VMs. So VM1, VM2, you can create some, assume 10 VMs, and that VM will be having a different OS. Assume I have a Windows laptop, and on top of that I'm using a hypervisor. I'm creating a VM, and I'm trying to install a Ubuntu OS in that VM, and the VM2 I'm trying to use the Red Hat OS. So like these different flavors of the OS, and top of that I'm trying to use my deploy my application. So this is how in general a virtual machine in Linux is working. Whereas in case of Docker, you see the hardware is there and the host operating system is there, and instead of the hypervisor there will be a container engine will be there, and this container engine, it will, on top of this we can deploy multiple containers. And the major difference if you see here is, see, when you have a OS and top of that you are having the application, so it is really a heavy weight heavy weight VM we can say. So for example, I need to only run WhatsApp. Sorry, one sec. Give me one sec, minute. Yeah. So this is really comparing to the virtual machine. Docker will be a lightweighted one. So what are the libraries required for your application? So that one only will be installed, and it will be a lightweighted VM kind of the Docker will be. So you can make use of the resources, and you can create multiple instances using the Docker containers, and you can make use of that. So this is another interesting topic you can try to go through. So nowadays industries are like when they are deploying the applications, instead of delivering the application as a single package, like they will try to deliver as a Docker images, and the Docker images they will try to deploy using the different Docker commands. So for that I had listed some of the Docker commands you can try to go through. Okay, and I expect people to go through these commands to try make practice these commands. You can just simply go to Docker Hub and create a login. You can try to pull some images, deploy the applications. For example, you need a nginx or http server, you can try to deploy in your Ubuntu machine using the Docker image pull, Docker image I think okay, these are only Docker image. There are a lot of other commands actually. Docker run, you can run that container. So yeah, I think that's it from my side. I want I expect people to explore the different all these topics. It will be really useful. It will be really try to address the gap and get more info about the next gen technologies, like what is being used. So any questions from here, anyone? How you feel? Is it informative? The floor is open to everyone now. Am I audible? Okay, I'm done with my side, Soma Sundari ma'am. I hope it would be informative and helpful for the students to explore more new topics. I hope I gave some lights. Okay. So if no further questions, we can stop the session.
So students, if you have any queries, you can ask. Okay, sir. So let's conclude with a vote of thanks. The vibration of gratitude attracts more positive thoughts into our life. With that being said, I would wish a warm evening. It's my esteemed honor to propose the vote of thanks. First and foremost, I thank our Lord Almighty for countless and making today's event a great success. It gives us immense pleasure at this hour that I am blessed to have a chance to thank our chief guest, Mr. G. Lakshmi Narasimhan, technical specialist, Nokia Company, an eminent person for accepting our invite and presiding over the function. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I am grateful to the management for their support, vision, and commitment. I render my sincere thanks to our principal, sir, Dr. S. Richard, for awakening the desire and passion and for supporting us. Thank you, sir. My heartfelt thanks to the heads of various departments, faculty, and staff for their support and cooperation in organizing this event. Thank you, colleagues. Finally, yet importantly, I thank the students for their active participation in today's event. Never give up until you achieve your dreams. Dream big and go for it as long as you can. Success is only for those who really work hard and run till the end. So, friends, run to your destination with strong determination. Thank you all.
Thank you, Aparna, and thank you so much very much for giving this opportunity. And also, I thank to the management and the principal Richard sir and to the management for arranging this session, and hope it will be useful. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Narasimhan sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I am done from my side.